All right, we are live. Yes, we are live. Hi, May.
Hi, Daniel. Hi, everyone.
Hey, everybody. Glad to have you all here. This is our third painting session.
Mm-hmm.
And so, May, what are you working on?
So today I'm planning on finishing the figure, and if I have time, maybe I'll start putting in some colors in the wings. Maybe, I don't know. Stick around to find out. But basically, the main goal is to finish the figure. So, but he's basically just put in all the lights and make it finished. So, yeah.
Awesome. Painting the lights is the most fun.
Yep.
Cool. And I see you've got some colors mixed out on the palette there.
I do. So these two over here are supposed to match the edges of the shadows that I put in last time, so that when I go to make radiance with them against the lights, you know, there's like a direct buffer color. So that way it's not like just harsh light against harsh shadows. And then these aren't colors that actually appear in the reference, I think, but I think they'll be good to blend into other colors to kind of adjust them. So I just have them here. It's like the sort of adjustment, like backup palette. And then these here are a lot cooler than the colors that I had last time in the shadows, because the lights are the opposite temperature. And so, yeah. These three are all kind of the same value, and then these two are the same value, and then this one is probably the lightest light. So we're just going to start with these two buffer shades and then kind of move up in value as we go. Yeah.
Awesome.
So that's all for now.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm going to start with the back because it's a pretty flat area. There aren't that many colors going on, so I just want to test my colors and make sure they work as what I intend them to. So I'm going to use this one because down there I ended with a bit of a warmer shadow. See if that matches. Yeah, that works.
That's always good.
Mm-hmm.
When the first stroke that goes down is right what you want it to be.
Well, it's not right where I want it to be. I'm just saying it works.
Okay.
Yeah, it could be a little. You know what? I'm just going to mix it anyway. This is called brazen and probably unwise confidence, but you know, it's okay. Yeah, that's better.
Awesome.
It's a little light, but yeah.
Yeah, welcome everyone. So May Zheng is Kevin Murphy's apprentice. She has been learning directly under Kevin, and hasn't gone through the Evolve artist program, but she's getting basically the same exact education since Kevin is the founder of Evolve's curriculum. And the Evolve program was designed to be everything online, but as if Kevin was there teaching you. And so we're learning from May, watching her paint and watching this up-and-coming artist do awesome things. So it's really awesome. And if you're curious about the Evolve artist program, you can check out links in the description of this live stream. All right, and also for everyone, you are more than welcome to ask May questions, and that's what I'm here for. I'm here to direct questions from you over to May, and we can have a fun little conversation. And I have some questions planned out in advance that everyone can answer. So, what do you think, May? Should we just jump right into it?
Sure.
Okay. Should we start with something, I don't know.
Up to you. Just throw them at me.
Should we go straight deep, just deep right away?
Yeah, like what we did last time.
Okay.
I'm sure everyone loved that one.
All right. Well, this one is just popping out to me among my questions here. James just asked, when is Daniel going to do a live stream painting? Who knows?
Ooh.
I just started a painting, but I'm not live streaming it. I'm really glad I'm not, because there's a lot going on in it and a lot of thinking required, and it would be a very quiet stream, that's for sure. But who knows? Maybe in the future, could do some things. But yes, okay. Where were we? Oh yeah. So okay, this question here. So this question to me is interesting because I think as artists we we put like our work and our profession into our identity. So, do you call yourself an artist? And if so, when did you start calling yourself an artist? And if not, then why?
I do call myself an artist. It's like one of the main, I guess, like quote unquote labels I would identify myself with these days. Usually if people ask, people usually know I'm in college and they ask me what my major is. And I usually tell them my major, but like directly I'll tell them, but I'm studying to be an illustrator when I grow up, and that's my main goal. I don't leave that out even though it's not directly in the question. It's something I definitely want people to know about me, because it's what I spend most of my time doing. It's what I'm most passionate about and all of that. When did I start calling myself an artist? I think I've always identified that way, like among my peers, like within school and everything. I was just kind of known as like the artsy kid, the one you'd always want to be in your group for like artistic group projects and that sort of thing. But I think when I first started calling myself that, instead of having other people call me that, was, I guess, like once college started and we were going around like re-identifying ourselves to like a whole new crowd of people and everything like that. And I decided it was something I wanted people to know about me, even before I decided I was going to do this as a career. So last September, I guess, to put like an exact date on it.
Awesome. I apologize, everyone, if the audio sounded a little bit funny. I think I had your audio was down and mine was up. Should be the other way around. So hopefully that's better. Cool. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. That's cool. I also took a poll about whether people call themselves an artist, and we've got 60% have said yes, they do call themselves artists. So for those of you who said yes, why do you call yourselves an artist? And for those of you who said no, why do you not call yourself an artist? Let's hear in the comments.
Starting off with identity, huh?
Yeah. It's always a fun subject. Who am I? Jean Valjean. 24601. Bill said yes, he is an artist. He gets paid for it. Yeah,
Nice.
absolutely.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I don't go around telling people I'm like a waitress, even though I get paid for it. But it's pretty cool that you can say that about being an artist.
See, to me, that's really interesting, right? Like, you don't identify as a waitress,
Yeah.
but you identify as an artist.
I'm a waitress by utility, financial utility, and that's all. But I'm an artist by, I guess, because I want to be. It's not like necessary. So I guess there's like this element of like, agency and doing it because you want to, not because you feel like you have to. Not that was it.
Laurel said, it's become a state of mind. It's my advocation.
Interesting. Application or vocation? I feel like those are different things. No, it doesn't matter. Sorry.
She said advocation. Okay, I see your comment there, Bill. I'm going to, yes, I'll turn May up a little bit more. And May, if you could help us out by being a little bit, projecting a little bit more. Pretend that you're talking to me instead of the painting.
Okay. Okay, Daniel.
Thanks.
So I'm noticing a lot of the colors that I mixed originally are like lighter than I wanted them to be. So I just went in and remixed them with my brush. Because we adapt. And I'm not committed to these colors or anything like that. So.
Okay, I think I finally fixed the audio issue. My apologies, everyone. May, do you want to say something really quick?
Hello, I'm
Awesome.
painting.
Thank you very much. Okay, so some answers in here from Sarah Price. Yes, I'm an artist because it puts me in the right mindset for when I'm working. It helps me with the quality of the painting when I see it as something I can make real.
I guess that's like it's like you believe that you're an artist before you start painting. Like you have to remind yourself of that, I guess. Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I can do this because I have practice. I'm committed to it, so that's a good place to be.
James said, I would intend to one day, but do not yet today, referring to calling himself an artist.
Let's see.
Laurel responded here. She said, vocation is a job, advocation is a lifestyle and reason for being. Yeah, that's a great word.
I always thought of advocate as like support or like promote, but
Maybe it's a verb and noun
yeah,
definition change.
not a big deal. But cool.
But yeah, I think that definitely kind of cuts to the heart of it. What you do versus who you are.
Right.
Pretty cool. Looks like our final result is 77% said yes and 23% said no.
I wonder what people are waiting for to call themselves an artist.
Deborah Haynes just said, I'm a world-renowned artist with a degree. That's awesome.
Sick. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah. Bill said, art is a journey. Art is a pursuit. You never arrive, but you can get on board. Yeah, I think Kevin says something similar that like you can get pro-level skills,
Right.
but mastery, you can get pro-level skills in a year or, 350 hours, whatever. But mastery takes a lifetime, if not more. It's like you never get to the end of it. It just keeps expanding.
I mean, it's like you could always get better, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I guess that's the mentality. I feel like I'm seeing these colors differently than I did last live stream. It's kind of funny.
Interesting.
I'm not enjoying it, to adjust a lot of things.
You want to share your thought process right now?
So the gradient next to that last feather over on the right, from last time, it looks like, to me right now, it looks like I painted it in like really darkly. And so I'm kind of pushing into it with my lighter values, and I don't have those colors that I mixed last time for the shadows like on my palette right now. So it's proving kind of difficult to blend into each other. Terrible. But yeah. Unprecedented change in perception, I guess. So, and like a lot of these colors on the palette, like if you guys are watching it, you don't have to, but I'm mixing like a lot of colors between them or into them rather than just using them directly as they are, because they don't feel as accurate on the, like compared to the painting that I already have down as they do to like the reference. When I was mixing them, I was using the reference, like the photograph, but now that they're actually next to or like being used in conjunction with the colors that I put down last time, they don't look super accurate. So I'm having to adjust them. So it's going a bit slow, basically, but it's okay.
Yep, totally fine.
Yeah. And I said I was going to go value by value, but instead of like direct painting one area and direct painting another one, but I think I need to figure out which actual color combinations I need to use first, so I'm just using this area before I get into the more complicated stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
Get a sense of the different relationships and how it translates.
yeah, like what actually are the colors that I mix? That's a question.
Mm. Do you keep the color palette from the previous sessions?
Not always. I happen to have the one from last time, but like the paint's dried because it's been a week, so I can't really use it as anything other than like reference. So.
Mm-hmm.
And usually I don't really use color palettes as reference anyway. I either use the photograph or my painting. So. Okay, I think it's stabilized a bit. I think I know what's going on now.
Here's a question.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, actually, I almost forgot. There's a question above I missed. This question is from Prod by Ghost.
Hello.
How long do you guys practice drawing or painting each day? And actually, everyone can jump in to answer that question in the chat. I'd love to hear everyone's different answers. But May, why don't you answer that one?
Yeah, I wouldn't call it practice. At this point, I'm mostly just working through pieces for my portfolio in different genres. And I guess that in a way that is practice, but also like testing myself at the same time. So usually I paint like 4 or 5 days a week, and I would say between 5 to 8 hours every day-ish. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's solid.
And I usually like to have, well, I mean, I just started doing this, but I figured out that I like to work on 2 pieces at once because it helps keep my eyes fresh between each piece. So I kind of go back and forth. Like every other day, I'll work on the same piece. And yeah, I think that's helped, definitely. And also because that way there are just different workloads for each piece that you can kind of toggle between, so you don't have to, so you're not like stuck waiting for your painting to dry. You can always work on something if you want to. So it's nice having that choice. But that just takes more planning in advance. But yeah, if that's what you want to do, it's definitely a good way to organize it.
It doesn't feel like it's splitting your attention?
No, quite the opposite. It helps me like take a break and like kind of balance out. Come back to something with fresh eyeballs, because if you work on something for too long, you get kind of blind to it. You get used to the flaws that were built in like the first few passes, and then it gets harder to find them and fix them later. So.
Yeah. Yes, Armando, May is painting with oil paint, and it is Old Holland oil paint. Yeah, for me, I have very little. Lately, as I've been focused on helping grow this evolve, very, very little on average. Though now that I'm working on this painting, I'll be probably putting in about 30, 40 hours a week for the next month or so. into this painting. So I kind of do it in big spurts, because unlike a little bit different from May, I'm very one-track minded, and I like the idea of what you're talking about, May, about working on two different paintings at the same time, because that would help immensely. But I don't.
Right.
I don't know. There could be some repercussions on my end with how one-track minded I am. Like this painting I'm working on now, it's basically consumed my entire world. Like eating, sleeping, I am dreaming and breathing this painting now. So, yeah. But I will say, practicing, like as far as, it's funny because even though I'm not actually painting a whole lot, though actually, well, I am doing some digital stuff on a weekly basis. So come to think of it, it's about 3 hours a week, which is still very nominal. But just by experiencing and being actively viewing and critically seeing things, which I do all the time, you also are developing your skills that way. Once you get to a certain point where you can, like, as I've talked about, understand these fundamentals and know how to visually break down information, the more that I'm seeing things and critically looking at them, the more that I'm seeing new ways of painting and learning those things. So it is funny how, recently I haven't been painting much at all, and yet I still feel like with every painting I do, I'm making big strides forward. So that's pretty cool. But that has to be it has to be active viewing. It can't be passive viewing. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it wouldn't really make a difference for me. Okay, next question from Bill.
Yes.
Would you accept or decline a commission if you had a terrible photo reference?
It depends on how bad the photo reference is, and also if I made the photo reference or if it's being provided to me. Like if I have no way of making my own photo reference, like if it's like a portrait of someone who lives in like a different country and like they have no means of coming over, I have no means of going there, and they give me like grainy like cell phone photographs, then I would let them know like this is going to be very difficult to work with, and there's going to be a limit to the quality that I can produce for you, and then let them kind of decide if they're still willing to like go through with it. But if it's my fault and I can't make a proper photo reference, I would let them know that too. I guess, like, you can, I think it should be up to the client to decide, but you have to be transparent with them about the quality of your work that you think you're going to be able to provide. So.
Mm-hmm. I have turned down a few commissions when all that's available is a photograph that has very poor reference. Though it's not always, it's the criteria is often different than what most people assume, right? So there might be a nice photograph that has completely overcast lighting or ambient lighting on, say, someone's face. And maybe the photograph is in 4K HD, and I would still probably turn that one down. But if there was a poor photograph that was a little bit, let's say a little bit, not too much, but a little bit grainy, a little bit blurry, but it had really good lighting, then I would probably accept that one and maybe set, like May is saying, like set some parameters about maybe I would shift to doing a more impressionistic portrait with the expectation that it's not going to look exactly like the reference that they're giving. Whereas if something is highly realistic, then the expectation would be that it would be just like the photograph and then some. It would have even more than the photograph is saying, three-dimensionally and realistically. But for something that's kind of on the edge, but still has good lighting, I would probably take and do a more impressionistic, smaller piece for.
Right.
One thing to note for everyone here in the live stream, so the reference image that's in the top left corner is the true colors of the photograph, and that's actually what the colors that I'm seeing from here in my chair, looking past my computer at May. The camera that you're seeing of her painting with the photograph taped up next to it. It's funny how the colors are a little bit different from each other. In reality, the colors are very, very close to each other. But the camera here is picking up some cooler tones and making that photo more pink. It's just the way that the light is interacting with the photograph and the camera itself. So I just thought that'd be interesting to note. So from my perspective here, what I'm seeing is actually more of these colors in here. Just sharing the reference right now. Okay.
Nice save.
Yeah. But it is nice that the camera's picking up on the different subtle color shifts that you're putting in there, like that cool gray that you're dropping in. It's nice.
Thanks.
Okay, a question from Daniel Morris.
Yes.
Is there a block or stage in the Evolve program where you would learn to draw a portrait freehand, or is that something to learn outside the program? So yes, you would learn how to draw anything freehand. So I'll say more accurately that we teach. So the first block we teach grayscale painting with photographs only, and then in the second block they focus entirely on grayscale painting from direct observation, and they draw those still live, direct observation, proportional drawing pieces freehand from life. And they will use, there's really no measuring tools, but they'll use the brush to assess like just visually what the proportions are in relation to each other, the different shapes and things like that. And I gotta say, the results that we get from the proportional drawing section are, it's pretty incredible. Like it's so standardized that everyone is just hitting these accurate proportions right off the bat that we actually don't even talk about it that much, which is funny. But they get really, really good drawing skills. And so then you could translate that over to drawing a portrait freehand. So that would be like, could either be drawing a portrait from life, like a real live model sitting there, which would have some extra complications because the model would be moving just slightly. But you do learn the same methods for that, as well as if you have a photograph of the painting and you decide to paint it freehand, you would still be able to use the same proportional drawing technique to draw the portrait freehand. So yes, absolutely, it comes with the Evolve program. And that's really critical, developing that skill to be able to do that, because we don't want to become copying machines. And not only that, but it's developing your ability to see critically, and so that you can really take the painting beyond just what the photograph is offering, and make it more realistic. And to see, because even like right now, May is covering up a lot of her transfer lines and things, and so she's having to rely on her proportional drawing experience to fill in the gaps and place everything properly. Question from Dina. I'm assuming May created the composite photo reference only one wing. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, a lot of comments have been about this. Like, why is there only one wing? It's cool. I like asymmetry. It's more interesting than symmetry to me. If you have two wings, you're an angel. If you have no wings, then you're just a person. If you have one, you're in a state of metamorphosis, which I think is more interesting, more narrative. And that's not like just personal taste. It's just, I think if something's more narrative, it's more engaging to like an audience. It's nice when the interpretation of something can be ambiguous. I think that just makes it more engaging. And it's nice to create something that's more engaging and therefore more memorable. So, yeah.
Certainly creating a lot of curiosity and questions about why there's one wing as opposed to two.
That's cute. Keep doing it. Keep speculating.
Yeah, on the same note, Sarah Price said, was the decision to have the angel in a smoky atmosphere narrative or just atmospheric? Do you imagine a story for your paintings, or is it something you just like the look of?
For this one, it's both. It's narrative and it's atmospheric. Obviously, it's atmospheric because it's smoky and tangible and kind of mysterious because smoke like obscures things and all that. I guess it could be narrative because smoke indicates like fire. Fire is like catastrophe or destruction, so some big event must have happened. And the follow-up was like, why do I...
Do you imagine a story for your paintings,
oh.
or is it something you just like the look of?
Sometimes I imagine a story, but usually the composition comes before the story. Like I'll figure out what I want in a painting and who I want in it and like how they're going to be arranged with the background and et cetera, et cetera. So I figure that out, and then I can like design a narrative around it if I want to. But the composition and like the actual elements of the painting come first for me. And I think that's, again, like because I'm still building a portfolio and the final product and the visual result matters more to me than whatever narrative can be paired along with it. So, but you know, one day, hopefully, when I can do this on my own and don't need to prove my competence in painting, I can kind of paint whatever I want with whatever story that I choose. But I mean, for now, I'm happy just making really cool compositions, but I'm just saying it's like not a priority to have a explicit narrative attached to it, that's all. Yeah. That's very red.
What's that?
No, I just said it's very red, the color that I just put down.
Mm.
But this part's getting interesting because some of those transparent parts of the wing are like overlapping into this part of the back. So I have to watch these colors very carefully, especially because I'm not working on the wing today directly, or not planning to. I need to make sure this is a good foundation for when I do, instead of just like painting it directly as I see it. So trying to keep all those edges soft so they can be easily worked with later. Oh, it looks so blue, like all those cooler tones, but they're really just gray if you look on the palette. So, moral of the story is it's all relative. It's the way you perceive colors. Just going back in the back and adding in a little bit more shadow. Well, like buffer, so that the light blends into the shadow a little bit better.
Anyone have any questions for May? Let's see, there's actually a question that everyone else could answer too, is how long do you guys practice drawing painting each day? I think only Bill responded to that one. So that'd be kind of fun to hear how much people are painting on average.
I feel like last time when I was painting, I was just going up the value scale in a very structured way. And this time, because my colors aren't like perfect off the palette, I'm just like freestyling the whole thing. But it's okay. It's good to practice resilience and stuff. So, and it's good to be able to see what adjustments you need to make as you're putting colors down. And also to be reminded that I will perceive colors differently every time I look at something. So probably best to work off the painting a little bit more when I'm mixing colors as well. Okay.
Here's a question. Is taking your time, such as how slow or fast you paint, in this case how slow, is that one of the best techniques to painting?
Well, if you intentionally paint slow, like no, but I think it's more like the mentality that like in order to get the result you want, you can't let time be a factor or a limiting factor. You have to be willing to take as long as you need to in order to achieve the result that you want. And it's not about just like, oh, I'm gonna paint slow just to prove that I can paint slowly and that I'm like patient. Like there's no point in that. You're kind of just wasting your time if you could do it faster. But if you can't do it faster and you're generally taking your time to ensure that you're getting results that you want and that you're committed to, then like, yes, by all means. But painting slow for the sake of painting slowly is like kind of silly. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah. And it is good to be very thoughtful about your work.
Yeah, for sure.
We kind of take that for granted here. But having a process, as far as technique goes, like we think of technique as how you put it down, which is connected to process. I think process is more about like your methodology and way of thinking. I don't know,
Right.
at least in the way that we use our language here. But there could be multiple techniques. But if you have a process that's sort of helping you think and make well thought out and educated decisions about what you're doing, and if you are taking the time necessary to assess your options and make a critical decision, then yes, absolutely, like that's a great thing. But if you are, like May said, just painting slowly or not thinking those thoughts, not actively engaging,
Right.
then you could potentially be wasting your time. So, it's like you'll get faster as you do it more. You'll just naturally find ways to be faster. Your experience will help you make informed decisions more quickly, and that will help you paint faster. But you never want to rush a painting. Absolutely, that can be terrible. Yeah, Bill said, I need to slow down. I think Sargent said, I could be totally wrong about this. I heard this somewhere, that Sargent said he would paint half the time and think the other half of the time.
Yeah. It's a good one.
See, Z Owen said, I average about 12 hours a week with how much he or she practices. Melanie Wood says, I typically get to paint on the weekends or in the homework room. That's the homework room in the Evolve program, which is like a video chat room for Evolve students to connect. I have a 9 to 5, probably going to work 45 to 50 hours a week nursing job, but I average
Wow.
10 hours a week, I believe is what she's saying there.
Solid.
Yeah, it's commitment.
Kudos.
Yeah, a bunch. Z and Sarah both saying that their day jobs can get in the way.
Yeah.
Sarah Price said, when I can dedicate time to it, anywhere from 4 to 12 hours a day. Wow,
Nice.
it's a good section there. Debbie said 30 to 120 minutes almost every day. Some kind of
Consistency.
art-making activity, and I'm a slow painter. Very different approaches from Sarah and Debbie. That's cool. That consistency is impressive, Debbie.
Yeah, every day is hard. even if it's just 30 to 50 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I think I went, like last week, I painted for like 7 days straight. Only like 6 hours a day, not like, full days, like 12 hours or whatever. But yeah, that day when I took a break, I was like, wow, this is crazy. I'm not like in front of an easel, so definitely big mental shift. Yeah, I really just scrapped the value by value thing. I'm just direct painting, but it's okay.
We've seen your paintings. We know you'll, however you get there, you'll get there.
Have faith in me, guys.
Speaking of which, I see that portrait behind you, or to your left.
Yes.
Can we see?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah, it's all in glare right now, but if we can pull it up, get a nice shot of it and show everyone. So we've seen this each episode, and so, but every week she's working on it and making progress. So it's been fun to see it change week to week.
It just got sealed, so I'm trying to hold it without touching it. How's that?
Yeah, you can step a little bit closer to your painting. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, that lettering was very time consuming.
Yeah, look at that, all the details on that shirt. Great, thank you.
It was funny because I was like, me and the model were like talking, he's a friend of mine, about what he was gonna wear to the shoot and everything. And I like stalked his Instagram a little bit, and I was like, oh, I like this shirt. And he was like, are you sure you want to paint that? Because, all the embroidery, obviously. I was like, yeah, it's really elegant, and it's like kind of business casual, and it would, it's a good way for me to kind of show off if I can pull it off, which I will. He was like, are you sure? And I was like, hey, come on. And so it was kind of like out of spite. I was like, I'm gonna show my friend that I can paint his shirt. And then I painted his shirt. So
Nice.
yeah, it was a fun challenge for sure. I actually had to paint it twice because I wound up adjusting the lighting in the reference photo a lot, like halfway through. And so I'd done like the flats for it, and then I changed the lighting and stuff. And so the flats and the shadows on the shirt wound up being like in drastically different like value ranges. And so I had to paint, I had to paint like on top of the transfer for all the embroidery and basically redo the transfer, but in paint, so that I could paint over that and match the value of like that center part of the shirt to the rest of the shirt. And then I had to paint the embroidery again on top of that. So that was a trip, but it's okay. We made it.
Yeah, you found a way. Awesome.
Yeah.
And you also just finished another painting.
I did.
You did.
I'm very excited about this
So,
one, actually.
all right, let's see this one.
Okay.
We'll show and tell.
Well,
for
I'm going to talk about it for a while first,
okay.
and then I'll show you. Basically, I think I've mentioned this a few times. I'm trying to do a portfolio for both science fiction, fantasy illustration, and also portraiture. And so you saw the portrait side that I've been doing, the portrait painting that I've been doing, but I've mentioned that I've been working on 2 at once. And so I just finished the other one, well, almost, but it's okay. Basically finished the other one earlier today. It was supposed to be the 3rd in a series that were supposed to be like mock book covers. But this one is definitely much better than the other 2. I think it's a very big step forward in the quality of my painting and also the standard that I'm going to be holding myself to in the future. So this might actually be the first in a series of 3 that will either match or top its level. So
Awesome.
yeah, very excited.
All right, let's see it.
I'm so afraid. I don't want to mess it up. It's like half sunken in, so some of the colors are a little bit strange, but all right. Here it is. Is this good?
Awesome. If you can tilt it down just a little right there. A little bit less. Right there. And you can kind of lift it a little up and down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice and slow, nice and
Oops.
slow. Let everyone take it in. There's a lot going on there.
There
That's
is.
so awesome.
Thank you.
I love that skull, man.
Yeah. That's like a Halloween mask or something we got off of Amazon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's sweet.
So
Yeah, Z said, wow. Laurel said, love it, May. You can slowly lower it so we can see the top of it too. Yeah, we can see some parts that are sunken in on the top. In the background on the right corner there for everyone. Melanie said, looks amazing, great work. Laurel said, the water is awesome.
thank you.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
Linda said, that's so impressive, May. You should be proud of your achievement.
Thank you.
All the love.
All the love. So,
Yeah, that's
if
great.
you really like this painting, which just like me, I also really like it. I think I'm considering selling prints of it on my website, which is not going to be live yet, but it will be live once I get a good shot of this and I'm able to put it up. So definitely by the next live stream, I'm considering selling prints of this at. It's at 2 by 3 feet right now, so maybe a few at that size, and then maybe a few at like half size. So if you would like a
Awesome.
print, you can totally reach out. You can.
Oh,
you
yeah,
can,
I'll make a poll.
I guess you can.
Who's interested?
Yeah. So Daniel will make a poll, and if you're interested, respond to it, please, so we can kind of get an idea of what our print supply should be. And yeah, so looking forward to launching that, hopefully.
What is there a name for this? May's sci-fi painting or?
No. Sure, for now.
Okay, for now.
For now. I'll have a really cool title by next week.
Awesome.
Yeah. Definitely. I think it's the
Awesome.
best painting I've made so far. So hopefully you guys like it too. Back to this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Just put a poll up. Alex said, "Take my money."
I will. Okay. But yeah, as you can see, it clearly functions as like it's supposed to be a book cover or a movie poster or something of that sort. So hopefully you're into this genre, and yeah, I don't know, do what you will. But I would appreciate your support very much, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. Bill said, "Who's your printer and what are you printing on?"
I don't know what exact printer we have. Kevin has this really high-end one at the studio that we use to run prints for transfers and reference images and stuff. Probably matte paper. Since I painted this on panel, it doesn't make sense to print it on canvas since it'll be like disingenuous to the image and it'll actually probably look worse. So probably matte paper since it's nice and flat. Or maybe photo paper, which has like a nice luster to it. You can probably just let us know which one you want and we can just print it at your convenience. Customize it for you. But
Cool.
probably those two, yeah. 2 types of photo paper, no canvas, since it doesn't make sense for this painting.
Yeah, we can set up like some sort of official form or something next week that people can share their information into or something like that.
Yeah, on my site, there's going to be a little page for prints, and when you're ordering them, you can do a selection of which size and also which material you want it to be printed on, as well as like it'll take your email, obviously, and payment method and all that. So
Awesome. Cool.
exciting.
Yeah.
There's dust. Okay. It's nice because this painting is like everything I've ever considered as like cool stuff, you know? There's like guns and armor and like big wave and space and like implied violence and conflict, and yeah, I'm very happy with it.
Let's see. Yellow guy has made a few comments here.
Yellow guy. Nice to meet you.
Well, there's a couple comments, but here's a question. What is your favorite painting, May? Or maybe, I think the question is what's your favorite kind of painting? Is it scientific, like the one that, or is it like one that you're making now?
I guess science fiction, not
Yeah,
scientific.
do you like
Oh, like what genre?
yeah, what
I guess.
genre?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Probably fantasy, science fiction. Yeah, I just think it leaves the most room. It's like it's the genre with the most visual potential because you can paint like anything you want. You kind of just create your own world, your own rules for physics or colors or anatomy or like nature, anything you want. So I just think that's very cool. It's very enjoyable, and it's like that way you can also test your own skills for like designing stuff. Like you can design your own characters or animals or plants or whatever, and I think that's cool too. Instead of sticking purely to like realism or portraits or something. That's not to say that realism and portraits are bad. It's just that I would enjoy science fiction, fantasy more, just because it offers more visual potential. Well, I guess imagery, not visual.
Yeah, and so Yellow Guy also said how he likes that, one person can have a good imagination, but this is going back to earlier about talking about the different like thinking and process and how you're painting. You can have a good imagination, but if it's not organized into knowledge, then it won't come out in the way that you expect.
Right.
So Yellow Guy really appreciates our thank you for your formula. You came up with a proven method for teaching because a teacher got to learn how to make learning as easy as possible. Yeah, absolutely. That's what we do at Evolve. Making that learning very efficient, effective, so that you can create art without limitations. And Yellow Guy said, I will like to paint a painting that reflects my culture that I was born into. I'm Hispanic, and I
Cool.
love Latin America and painting things of that kind. Awesome. That's great.
Jinx.
Yeah. Yeah, so Yellow Guy, definitely check out Evolve Artist. There are links in the description of this live stream that you can check out and get more of a sense for it. I'm not sure if you're already a student. I'm not sure what your name is since you're just Yellow Guy here on YouTube. But yeah, definitely check that out and take a good look at it. If you want to create that kind of work, we can definitely help you get there. Okay, here's a question for you, May.
Hello.
From Sarah's Creative Yearbook, just
You're
Sarah,
back.
as we talked about last
Lovely.
week. Okay, Yellow Guy is Christopher. Good to know. Okay, Sarah said, have you ever done any study of anatomy, architecture, underlying structures, physics, and the like for your apprenticeship with Kevin?
Nope. No. I didn't get trained, and Evolve doesn't train either in like specific subjects like that. Evolve teaches and Kevin taught me basically just to focus on how to like apply the same set of fundamental skills and understandings and standards to any subject. So anything that's like specific subject-wise, it was kind of, we're trying not to like think of something as what it is, but rather as like an object that reflects light and then generates color and value and edges for us to perceive and then render. So everything's kind of deconstructed in that way in order to enable the most efficient learning process and also one that is least dependent on other knowledge. So it kind of stands alone and can be applied to everything. So no, I didn't study architecture, anatomy, or internal structures or anything. You can study that in your own time, and I did a little bit too. Definitely not like a priority or critical information. So it's best to learn how to interpret what you're seeing and also how to see, like what to look for, and then learn how to render it as it is, rather than, I could like be looking at this back and thinking of like different muscles or anatomy or like the texture of skin or something. But no, I'm looking at values, colors, edges, and I know that's a product of the light interacting with the surface and then interacting with the neural pathways in my brain that interpret what I see. So kind of deconstructing things in that way makes learning much more efficient, and also a lot more applicable and less, and yeah, it's just applicable to a lot more subjects if you view them as all functioning the same way and interacting with light and then generating an image that you're trying to recreate.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that made sense.
Yeah, that was a great answer.
Yeah.
Some follow-up questions. I imagine these are kind of similar, but have you taken any other art-related classes outside of what you do with Kevin? Calligraphy, design, digital art, and what about making your own 3D models?
I have not taken any other kind of art classes other than my apprenticeship. I took a few, like, I guess, like classes before, like, joining the art academy, like when I was 12, like way before my apprenticeship. But I wouldn't say they gave me an education at all. So it was just like, oh, look at this photograph, then copy it, and get no instruction about that whatsoever. And then the teacher would like make their rounds and then kind of like swap seats with you and then like draw over whatever you did and then leave without giving any explanation for what they did. So yeah, I wouldn't count that at all. I taught myself how to use Procreate as like a digital software during quarantine, but I was just applying the same understandings that I'd gained during the apprenticeship about how to interpret light and shadow and form, values, edges, all that stuff. I was able to be a lot more experimental with it because I have that handy dandy undo button, and so that helped me experiment a lot more with like textures and color, especially because they have a lot of like default brushes with like really cool textures and stuff. But I never like took a class for that or anything. And yeah, no calligraphy class. I just practiced my signature a lot on like palette paper. I don't think that counts. Yeah, so no, pretty much I'm just here. I'm very happy here. So.
And going back to what you were saying about seeing things for values, edges, and color, and not these other subjects. Sarah's asking, does Kevin teach you that?
Yeah. It's a good. I get reminded of it pretty often. Actually, no. Sometimes it's the other way around, where I'm painting too superficially. I'm just copying like shapes of colors and edges off of the reference. But he tells me I have to think about like, because sometimes the reference is inaccurate, because a lot of the reference I'm building incorporates more than just like a photo shoot with like actual direct lighting and stuff. I have characters and like settings, like in the illustration I showed you, right? There's no discrete like light source. There's just like a big wave in the background and then like space, right? And so it's kind of, I have to be reminded to like think of objects like in that space and kind of make sense of them beyond like what is literally on my photo reference. But as a starting point, yes, I'm taught to see lights, look for like cast and form shadows, looking for like turns in the form that would create those gradients or edges for cast and form shadows and stuff like that. And also like how an environment would affect the coloration of something, temperature changes and between shadows and lights on an object, stuff like that. Yeah, it's more like a mindset than, I guess, a skill at this point. I just need to be reminded to kind of distance myself from what I'm looking at. But yeah, that is part of the education.
Yeah, I would say it's absolutely what Kevin teaches and his approach, and it's also how he teaches in Evolve. Same thing. Like May was saying, if you're like, you could be focusing on so many things when you're painting. You could be thinking about the skin or the anatomy or this, that, and the other. But the process that we put in front of our students is to seeing these values, edges, and colors really critically into a process, based on the light and shadow, and building that up so that you can paint any subject matter at all and see critically and create anything. So absolutely, it's really one of the things that makes Evolve so different from other programs. And then still from Sarah, for your apprenticeship, is it flexible, i.e. you just imitate Kevin, copy his art, do whatever he tells you, or did he write up a structured curriculum for you like he does with Evolve? That's a good question.
I just do exactly what Kevin tells me all the time. I'm just a sad little robot. No.
But it is a good question, though.
It is a good question. It is a good question. So that was all sarcasm. Me and Kevin, we have small little arguments over what is best for my painting sometimes in terms of composition, because I like very dynamic things, and he's like, that's not applicable as like a good image. I'm like, but it looks cool. And he's like, well, like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, it looks cool. Anyway, whatever. Anyway, sorry, that was not answering the question. I think the apprenticeship is very personalized. There's no like strict curriculum for it or anything. It's just I decide on a goal, like I'm building a portfolio in what genre, these genres. What pieces am I going to make for it? How many? Within what time frame? And then I think at this point, it's just like I'm trying to get better and more independent with every piece for like every step of it. So from the composition to the photo shoot to scheduling like different paintings at the same time, and that sort of thing. I wouldn't say there's like a strict curriculum for it. But when I first started, I wasn't like ahead or anything. I'd done the fundamentals summer program, but I wasn't really applying it or using it or anything like that. And so I had to basically start over with grayscale direct painting. And so I guess that's not really a curriculum. It was just like seeing where I was specifically as an individual and then moving me forward from there based on what I was willing to commit and where I was trying to go. Yeah.
Right. So the backstory here is that before May was an apprentice, she had already been learning the same curriculum and fundamentals that everyone in Evolve has been learning. And then, as you just said, you had kind of neglected a lot of those things.
Yes, I fell off the path.
Fell away. And then that brought you to having that conversation with Kevin about, getting back in order. And then, so then he looked very specifically at May's situation, made sure that he could fill in any gaps for her and get her back on track with those fundamentals and principles. But, it was specifically catered to her so that she could excel more quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Question from Joshua Young.
Yeah.
Did you do proportional drawing before you painted?
Yeah, I did. I used charcoal and measured, holding out a pencil and doing still lives and stuff like that. So, yeah, before I painted.
Yeah, so Evolve used to start in charcoal, and so did the brick and mortar school here. And then we eventually realized that we could actually start in painting and teach that much more quickly that way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit different. So for both me and May, we started in charcoal, and then we went into proportional drawing, and then we went into painting. Now in the Evolve program and the students here at the school, when they begin, they start in painting first, learning values and edges, turning form, light and shadow, things like that. And that's all in grayscale, and then they go into proportional drawing, and then they go into color.
So I just had to put those shadows back in near the shoulder blades because I painted over them, but it's okay. Yeah, this this stream is just me recovering. That is it.
Recovering from what?
I do something and then have to recover from it, just back and forth. It's like a tango. It's not efficient, but it's okay. But yeah, I was a bit nervous going into this one. I'm not sure why. Now I know why. It's because I wasn't that certain about my colors. I think the lighting changed on, like in this general area when I was mixing my colors, and so just like the way I saw them changed halfway through, and I didn't have enough time to remix everything. But it's okay because I'm working with it. And
do you think that has something to do with the video lighting equipment that we're using for the live stream, and you were mixing your colors before we set up?
yeah, I think so. Because like last time, everything was like set up, so
Right.
it's just different. But it's okay.
We'll keep that in mind for the future.
Sorry, I'm so needy and high maintenance.
No, I mean, that makes perfect sense, right? Because after all, color is really
Light reflecting off of things.
It's the frequencies of the light traveling, entering our eyes. It's wild. So for the lighting to change in the space, it makes complete sense that the colors would appear differently to you.
I feel like Kevin's just sitting at home. You're like, no, you're just mediocre. Kidding.
I'm not sure that's correct. Okay. Robert said, contours should be seen as flat, two-dimensional shapes that can be easily traced, and then the light and shade should be seen as simple, flat, abstract masses of tone and color that can be simply copied. Yeah, I think the terminology you're using, Robert, is just a little bit different, but it sounds like that's a very, very similar idea, is that you're kind of breaking down what you're seeing, simplifying it, understanding how the light is moving, and breaking down by light and shadow, and seeing it as abstract things, as two-dimensional things. It's like if you're going to build something, breaking it down by all the pieces and then rebuilding it yourself so that you really understand it, as opposed to just being a copying machine. But yeah, that sounds right in line with what we're talking about. Okay, from Sarah. I'm so used to just saying the username. How much mental adjustment or extra learning do you have to do to learn to paint different textures, feathers, fur, water, etc.? Is it doable with the stuff you learn and evolve, or are those each separate advanced skills that you have to learn separate techniques for, and or do you just have to get it from experience? Another good question.
Experience definitely helps, but no, I don't get special training for painting water or painting feathers or painting fire or anything like that. Again, like I said before, it's really just understanding the fundamentals of how to understand what you're looking at, values, color, edges, and then applying like those understandings into how you paint and render them. Obviously, experience helps with like patterns in light and how light interacts with those different subjects, but it's not necessary. But yeah, there's no special training for different subjects. That's kind of the point, is to have one approach that can be applied to everything, every visual subject. So, yeah.
Yep, great answer.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I've painted wings 3 times already, so hopefully this one is not too difficult. But at the same time, every visual subject is different, so you can't just assume because you've painted something similar before that, the one you're going to be working on now is going to be easier or anything. Never underestimate your subject. Kevin has a great story about that, but it's his story, so I'm not going to tell it.
Here's a good question. May, what do you like to recreate in art that exists in real life, but then you put a twist on it and transform it. Let me see if I'm trying to understand this question properly. Yeah, like where you're, what kind of things, I think that's the question, is like taking real things, what kind of real things do you like to take and then expound upon and make your own, maybe bring outside, like bring your own imagination into it, for example. What kind of things? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Trying to think. People? I don't know. I do my digital work that is mostly self-indulgent. I do a lot of like fan art, and I'm not just drawing directly from like screenshots or anything. A lot of the stuff I'm doing fan art for is like anime, and so it's not like specifically realistic. And so I like kind of designing my own likeness for people in those shows. And then I like I like adding wings to things and people a lot. Kevin will kind of tell you all about that. So I kind of like taking people and then making them a bit above human, more divine. Also like, I guess, kind of dressing characters up or people up in more fantastical outfits, kind of more like combat warrior, like sci-fi, cyberpunk, anything in that genre is like fun. But like nothing super specific. It's just like taking subjects like characters or people that I like and then putting them in clothing or like aesthetics that I like. So yeah, nothing too professional there. It's just personal taste, I guess. And follow me on Instagram at Lunic, LUNIC 77, 2 numbers. If you want to see how I take anime characters and make them real-ish, or like add wings to random things.
Yeah. Okay. From Dina. I see the easel you are using is different from the metal easels at the Art Academy. What do you look for in an easel that you like? Or does it not matter what easel that you use?
As long as it goes up and down easily and stays together, it's usually fine with me. This is like a bigger easel, obviously, and it allows me to like move the stuff around a lot more. Obviously, I'm not doing it during the live stream because then the camera would have to be reset and everything.
Thank you.
Yeah. But if I'm just like working on it normally without a live stream, yeah, this one's nice because I can move it around and I can stand while I'm working, which is something I prefer. It allows me to step back a lot and kind of reevaluate more consistently, working more at a distance. Yeah, so I guess I look for stability and functionality, which I think is not too special. Yeah, usually I'm just working off of like the normal metal ones at the school though, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah, this easel is actually designed for much larger paintings, but because we wanted to have a setup where May could be standing, we chose to use this one. Okay, next question from Sarah. May, who are your favorite artists, or which artists were or are the most influential for you? Did you do any or many master copies like they have for Block 8 and Evolve, or do you plan to?
I've done one master copy. It's the Pelt Merchant. It's in Block 8, I think. I also did another one. I forget what it was called. It was like a close-up of like this knight in like armor. It's very like metallic, and it's kind of looking down. It's like a side profile. A very cool piece.
A Rembrandt piece.
Yes, I did that one. But I haven't done anything else. I do really like that one painting. I think it's by Bugaro. I think it's Satyr and the Nymph. I would love to do like a very, not like actual size, that thing is like huge, but like maybe like a half size of that, like a master copy of it, that would be really nice. And I guess I do like Bierstadt a lot, like from the actual classical oil painters I like a bunch, and then like a lot of people I follow on Instagram like now who make a lot more digital stuff I also like a lot. So I guess for the first category, definitely Bierstadt. His landscapes are amazing. Use of lighting and color is insane. Also really like Sargent. His portraits are like, especially when he gets more impressionistic, like the raw like confidence you can see like in his like brushstrokes to just like indicate where form turns, where things are reflecting how like color works. It's so satisfying to look at. So I really appreciate that. I would also say, oh yeah, also his watercolor landscapes are like insane. A lot of people like he's more. I think he's more known for, at least the people that I know him more for his portraits, like his oil portraits. But his watercolor landscapes are insane. Like the use of color there is like, it's even more intense for me because, like, I don't know how watercolor works. I think it's very impressive. And because like watercolor, they play a lot with like the opacity of the medium, you know, by adding more water into it or not. And his like mastery over that in order to kind of overlay different colors is like really, really cool to see. I'm not gonna remember all the usernames of the people I like, but there's this one artist I think she's on Twitter, and she's mostly on Twitter, and also Instagram, called Celestial Fang, and she does a lot of digital illustrative work and like ethereal, like dark science fiction fantasy, and she also does like fan art. Her style is so cool because it looks like very painterly, but like her color choices are so good. You have to look at it to understand. Who else? She's the first one. Oh, Luna Relles is also really good. Lunarelles. Her stuff is more, I wouldn't say like cartoony, but it's definitely like more simplified. It's not like super painterly or anything. But her use of color is like, it's so good. And like the simplicity of her paintings, I mean her digital paintings, yeah. Also just like blow me away because like they're all like very, very narrative and very like character focused. There's like a lot of like emotion, a lot of like ideas in there. It's not just like a thing to look at. And then, so it's like super simple, but like she's able to convey like so much within like a simple image with like these striking color combinations, and I love it. So I guess those are the big two that come to mind first, who I love. Oh, there's another artist called NVP, ENVIEP, and then I think there's like a number 1 at the end. He's on Instagram and also ArtStation. I don't know if he has a Twitter, but he does like really realistic fan art, kind of very painterly. They look like oil paintings, but I think they're digital. For Attack on Titan, as well as like the video game Valorant. Yeah. And they're always like really big, like grand scenes with like lots of characters and landscapes and stuff. He makes like one piece every 3 months, but they're so good every time. So yeah, probably those 3 I would point out the most.
What was the name of the Luna something?
Lunarelles, LUNARELLES.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, go check them out. I think they all sell prints, so if you like their stuff. I have multiple prints by like each of them, so. Yeah, a lot of their stuff is fan art though, so I mean, if you're not into it, you're not into it, but.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Pence is asking, does art require a social purpose? So let's actually keep our questions a little bit more focused on this live stream. We had talked a bit last week about those different kinds of ideas, and we didn't have much to say on the matter. Would you agree, May?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, so we're just going to keep this one focused more on this painting and what May's been up to, things like that. But that's not a bad question. It's a good question for discussion, absolutely.
Is Trump there with you, Mike Pence?
No, I haven't seen him.
Oh, you've been abandoned. My mom was like commenting about how like Trump and Mike Pence were like on my live stream, and I was like, that's crazy, right? It's only my second one.
Yellow Guy said, art was a big help in many fields of life rather than just expression, because in times before we had advanced computer images that doctors would use artists to help draw human internal structures to help with their work.
True.
But yeah, now we have all kinds of technology. And then another question from Yellow Guy, where you see art in the future, where do you see art in the future heading?
I don't know.
Easier to reach
NFTs.
people with technology. We can have a new golden age emerging of art. It's now easy to help people have dreams or reach their dreams.
Well, I don't know. Definitely. Well, stuff like Evolve is really cool because, you know, it's totally online. So as long as you have internet connection and can afford it, it's really cool how accessible it is. And definitely it's going to inspire more art programs in the future. So in terms of art education, yeah, like the internet is definitely helping make art as a vocation or just like an activity more accessible to people, which is great. In terms of selling art, I don't know. There's a lot of talk about like NFTs that I will not speak further about because I'm not qualified to and I don't really want to. So that's a thing. Definitely the internet in general is just making art, both in terms of like selling it and also buying it, a lot more accessible. So yeah, definitely just constant growth and globalization probably. It's not a bad thing, I think. Just widening the market.
Mm-hmm. Got a question from Robin. May.
Robin,
How's it going?
is that it?
Yeah. Love that.
Better now. I'm pretty well. This week was not as fun as last week for some silly reasons, but you know, I've been painting, hanging out with friends, going to the gym, all that good stuff. So very happy I finished that portrait behind me and the sci-fi illustration I showed you guys. So excited to start something new, excited to be able to show these off. Yeah, and I'm here hanging with you guys, so pretty good. Although, when I'm hanging with my friends, we do tend to mention that summer is like halfway over more often, which I like kind of detest as a reality. So that's like not fun to think about, but it's okay.
You gotta think happy thoughts.
I gotta be delusional, you know? I'm kidding. Yeah, overall, I'm okay. Just existing and doing my best, I guess. But I appreciate you asking. Yeah, and I hope you're doing well too, Robin.
May, I know you've answered this question in the past. You can be brief with your answer here, but I think this is Sarah's creative yearbook's like maybe she hasn't heard the answer. So what would you like to do with art long term? Video game art, fine art, animation, YouTubing, some combination of the above, or something else?
I want to be a freelance science fiction fantasy illustrator or portrait artist, just doing commissions or having like short-term contracts for like projects for a series of book covers or stuff like that. I think video game art would fit nicely into science fiction fantasy, although that requires like a lot more design because like if you're doing stuff for like a publishing company, you know, the book's already written for you, so all the descriptions and the characters are like made for you. And then if I did video game stuff, that would require a lot more knowledge of like software, which I don't really have. But I mean, it's a lot easier to learn things now than it used to be, you know, with the internet. So I don't know, that would be cool too. But mostly, I guess, fine art and illustration. I think definitely building out like social media profiles to kind of sell prints of like my original work and stuff would be great as well. So that's what I'm hoping this can turn into. This being like my first big like digital footprint. So yeah, kind of illustration, fine art, independent artist. Yeah.
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 And Sarah had also asked if you've tried different forms of mediums of art besides oil painting and realism, like cartoon style, architecture drawings, anime, manga, etc.
I've tried manga, like line art, cartoonish stuff, and I always got myself like fixated and stuck on like the line art, because it's like you define things in like lines rather than like shapes, if that makes sense. And so it's like more, and so every line has to be like a lot more precise. And so it was just way too time consuming and just became like not enjoyable. So I kind of stopped. I never really did architecture drawings. I kind of work buildings into backgrounds of stuff when I do them. And so I kind of practice that like along the way, but I don't like specifically or intentionally go out of my way to study architecture. Yeah, I
But you've
guess.
done some digital paintings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some digital paintings, but I don't really hold them to the same standard as my traditional ones. That's more for just self-indulgent stuff because, you know, it's nice to have a balance.
Mm-hmm.
You create just for yourself and also where you create to be perceived and prove your worth. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's good to have a balance.
And then Sarah said, "Is this week is not as fun as last week? Is your art not going well?" With a little sad emoji face.
No, it's like stuff outside of art. It's just like life, because you know I'm also a person who interacts with other people and gets affected by emotions. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I mean, art is fine. I was really intent on like finishing these two pieces going into this week, and I had some like just minor setbacks in the process, and so that like really like ticked me off like more than it should have.
Mm.
Because I was so like fixated on this idea. I was like, I'm gonna finish two paintings this week and move on to new things, and it's gonna be like this whole new era. Because like these two paintings are like, you know, I think they're the best that I've done in both of these categories. So I was like very excited about finishing them, and when that didn't happen, like super fast, I was like, well, like not super fast, not super fast, but like super smoothly. I was like quite irritated, but
Mm.
it's okay.
Yeah, it takes what it takes.
Yeah. So.
Okay, question. Is this considered a speed painting since you are doing it over a number of days or more of a direct painting?
I would say it's more of a direct painting because I am painting directly off the reference. I'm going over an area like one or two times and being done with it. Speed painting, it's like you treat everything with like multiple layers. So it's not really about the number of days something takes. It's like the way you address it in the painting process. So it's definitely more direct painting. Like after I finish the figure today, I pretty much like don't want to touch it again. So, yeah.
Yeah. Can't put you in a box anymore.
Yeah, I will not be defined. I'm I'm freestyling aggressively.
But there are multiple techniques that she's also employing and kind of merging them all together here. So similar to how Kevin says, you know, I'm just painting. I'm not really. He's not really following like to a strict technique like in the way that we teach it. So in the Evolve program, we teach what we call speed painting, which is a layered technique, and we teach direct painting. We teach vacant shadows, puddling, and just yeah, kind of a variety of different ways of creating. The methodology, the thought process is the same, but you know how the paint is applied is a little bit different. And when we're teaching those things, we're very specific about you know the process for that technique. But once you have a handle on those things, you really can start to just paint and do it more freely and flexibly as you go, which is what May's really doing there. Okay. Another question: would you stop sketching before painting in some works? I'm not sure I understand that question.
I don't sketch before I paint. I don't know what you mean. Maybe did they mean like transfer, perhaps? Because the answer is no. But I mean, I
Mhm.
won't. There's no need to elaborate if that's just not what they meant.
Okay, we'll see if there's a follow-up clarification on that one. Sarah Price said, so grateful to Kevin and the Evolve team for making this level of mastery so accessible and universal. Not that it doesn't still take work, but it's doable, and that is so exciting. Yeah, absolutely. It's so encouraging to know, like, wow, this can be achieved from anyone who's willing to put in the work. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's cool because it's like it's all up to you. You know, there's nothing about talent. There's nothing about and like Evolve kind of eliminates the issue of accessibility as well by being online. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Another question from Daniel. Do you think what do you think are differences and similarities between the Evolve program and the school that you have learned at, and as well as many ateliers that are also growing now around the world?
I think the main difference between Evolve and the Art Academy is, well, I guess just Kevin's more like personal involvement with everyone here. Um, I'm not saying that like the instructors are like less personable or anything or less personal, but I mean Kevin's just like his own person, and because he created this program, he's a lot more passionate about it, and he has like a more in-depth understanding of it. And I guess it's also like here it's like during a class you have like a whole community of students like all like physically in the same place at the same time like working on the same skills, and so that's like having a physical tangible community. I think there's still something like a little bit different about that compared to like a Zoom room or something, but that's just like difference between physical and like online interaction. Curriculum wise though, I don't think there's really a difference. I guess here, like more advanced students, they can advance beyond Block 8 a lot more easily because Kevin has like photography supplies for like photo shoot. He has a printer to run prints for references and transfer images and stuff like that. So all that stuff is a lot more accessible. But fundamentally, like in education, I don't think there's like a super huge difference. And then I guess between Evolve and the Art Academy as like one unit versus like other ateliers, we definitely focus a lot more on, again, like the fundamentals of how to see and then how to render what you see. A lot of ateliers, I think, kind of, I mean, I'm not an expert. This is just based on like very loose knowledge. Do not quote me on anything. Kind of will like hyper focus on like very specific subjects, like live like figure models or something, like still lives, like fruit, like I don't know, and like they have much more. They have their own like strict philosophies about like proper ways to paint and stuff. So like at Evolve, we use transfers to like directly define the shapes of whatever we're painting. But like a lot of places look down on that because they value like the skill of being able to like freehand draw like a lot more than like the actual final product of like an technically accurate painting. So there's just like differences in like philosophy. I think that's like a really big one.
Well, another big one is that ateliers, most ateliers will skim only the best students off of the top of all the portfolio reviews that they get, and give admission only to those people. So they're kind of like taking the cream of the crop right off the top
They're very
and then training
exclusive.
those people.
Yeah.
Whereas here at this brick and mortar school and in Evolve, we'll take anyone and do our absolute utmost to train them, and give them a process that works, and is very results based. So
Yeah.
that's huge.
The personalization of like Evolve and your education at the Art Academy is like definitely above and beyond what most ateliers would do. Because ateliers, like they just project their own philosophy a lot of the time, and they make you fit the mold, not the other way around. And so generally that's more taxing and ineffective, I would say. But yeah, Evolve takes responsibility for its students in a much more direct and effective way in terms of education, I would say.
One thing is also like if you're, let's say that you live in New Jersey and you like where this art academy is, there's also other art academies actually kind of around the world now. We have different schools springing up in different areas. I can drop in the link to that for everyone. But one of the differences is like with your time, with Evolve, you can go at your own pace. So if you can commit a lot of hours and you know that you could, really just go through the program really, really quickly in a shorter period amount of time with intensive hours, then Evolve might actually be much better for you. Whereas if you're taking like weekly classes, for example, at the brick and mortar school, then it might take, a longer duration or a longer period of time, even though it might be less hours. But yeah, so there's kind of some things to juggle. So for instance, let's say if you go to weekly classes here, maybe it takes, well, I guess it might be around the same amount. It might come out to about a year in the end. But if you're willing, like if you put in say like 14 hours a week into art, then you'd be doing what most people are doing in a year in 6 months instead. So like if you're ready to really put in a good chunk of time, then Evolve might be much better. Did that make sense, May?
Yes.
Okay.
It is
Just check.
self-paced and allows you to reach your potential based on your own availability instead of classes availability.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, at this point, I'm really just playing with the colors on my palette. It's kind of fun, kind of terrifying when I mess up, but it's okay. So I kind of just took those more saturated colors that I was going to mix into other things and just mix them together, and it's actually making a kind of nice, very vibrant like buffer in the middle of this gradient here. So.
Bev Bedford says hi from New Zealand.
Hi, from New Jersey. What time is it in New Zealand? That's like, I don't know, a 10-hour difference or something. It's quite
Yeah,
far.
Bev, let us know what time it is over there.
Appreciate your presence.
That's awesome, Bill. So Bill's just said he started painting 2 years ago, started Evolve 1 year, 6 months ago, got extremely distracted with other stuff in life. But he's a pro now, doing commissions regularly, still with Evolve, still learning.
Sick.
Awesome. Oh, wow. So from Bev, it is midday Monday.
Wow.
Wow.
Are you not working to watch me? Good for you. Sorry, I didn't say that. What? No, that's cool. Yeah. Sometimes we have people staying up until like the ungodly hours of night, and I get concerned. So I'm glad it's midday for you. Although I do appreciate the dedication of people who stay up. That kind of blows my mind. But I appreciate it very much. I feel like I just led you guys on because I was like, oh, we have this very simple plan, and we really don't. So, hope you're enjoying this anyway. It's probably more entertaining, actually. But it's just harder to describe what I'm doing. Anyway,
You have to focus a little bit more now.
yeah. Also, I can't just be like, oh, it's a very simple process. It's like I'm literally just adjusting to everything I'm doing as it's happening. So.
Here's a question from Darkstar, who's joined.
Hello, Dark Star.
And this one is actually similar to the question that we talked about earlier before the live stream, May. So I'm going to put this question, I'm going to kind of stack it in with Dark Star here.
Okay.
So Dark Star's question is, when did you realize you wanted to make art professionally? And then also, how did you find Kevin? And my question that I think is basically the same question is, did you ever have a moment when you decided that you were going to commit to becoming an artist?
Okay, so I'll answer the easy one first. So how did I meet Kevin? Basically, I was always interested in art from a very young age, and I was like drawing on printer paper all over the house. And my mom was like, "Okay, do it at someone else's house," and so or somewhere else. So I was kind of bounced between a bunch of different like studios where, as I mentioned before, they just kind of sat us down, made us like copy photographs, and then would kind of push us out of our chairs, amend our drawings, and then like leave without telling us anything. So I was like, this is not it. And so I appealed to my mother and I was like, Mom, I want to like actually get good, please. I think I was like 12. And she was like, okay. And then so she kind of asked around and found like Kevin, who was pretty local. He was like an 8-minute drive away at the time. And yeah, so that's where the story begins. And then I guess so for when I decided I actually wanted to do this professionally. Okay, so I started my freshman year of college last September, and I think it's a very common experience, but you know, you get kind of lost in the sauce, as they say. It was a very new experience for me, being out on my own, kind of just meeting new people, doing like whatever I wanted. And so even though one of the main reasons why I chose Rutgers was because it was close to Kevin, close to the school, so that I could have art like as an option, or I had the Art Academy as like a community, as an environment I could kind of fall back to, like as a haven. I was neglecting that like a lot. I wasn't coming into paint at all. I was just out. And I was still technically like in my apprenticeship, right? So I was severely like neglecting all the opportunities that carried with it, just out of like being overwhelmed by novelty. And so I got to school like in the last week of August, and I was not in like this building at all for a solid like 5 weeks, up until I think it was like the last weekend of September. And Kevin sent me this like very long email, and he was like, I don't think you realize you're doing this, but this is the gist of it. Like, I don't think you realize you're doing this, but you are throwing away your chance at becoming professional with, you know, like every passing day that you forget that you're an artist, and that you don't treat yourself as an artist, and that you're kind of just letting all these like very superficial things, novel as they are, yes, it's like a very human thing, but you know, you've kind of just lost sight of what you're doing and who you could be. And so that was a very sobering email. And, you know, it made me very upset. Yeah, so I kind of chewed on that for about a week. And I started coming in, and me and Kevin talked about it, and you know, obviously like there were no hard feelings. He was just like letting me know what I was doing, because I was obviously like not realizing it. Yeah, so I started coming back in, and I just decided like if I'm gonna be here, you know, I'm going to make the most of my years of college, where I both like have freedom in my schedule, but also like don't have bills to pay, and I'm gonna take advantage of the fact that I'm still here to learn as much as I can before I graduate and have to be on my own. I'm going to commit to this as a career, because you know, I can't really see a future with the major that I'm doing in college, or like a future that I really want or will be like fulfilled or happy in. So yeah, I started paying more attention to my schedule. I made my schedule like every semester with the intention of having big blocks of time in the middle of the day, or like stacking all my classes earlier in the day so I'd have big blocks of time to come in and paint. I like just started planning my weeks out more diligently, like becoming comfortable with like passing on like social things to come in and paint, planning out paintings. Yeah, just becoming consistent and deciding that this is where I wanted to be. So yeah, and so like Kevin told me later that there have been like obviously a lot of students before me who have gone to school like locally or like in New York, within the tri-state area, who've said they were gonna keep coming in and painting like after they graduated, like during college, and like none of them have followed through. Like you'll see them like once during like winter break and then once during spring break of like like freshman year, and then they'll just like kind of disappear. And so apparently I'm the first to come back and actually follow through, and in a much more serious way, I think. So that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
October 1st. That was the date of the email. I
Wait,
remember.
really?
Yeah.
That's my birthday.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember because I read it like 4 times and like cried a lot. So I like opened it a lot and would just be upset. But it's okay. The ends justify the means.
Critical turning point.
Yeah, honestly. And I really appreciate that, you know, like he cared enough to like say something, because it would have been very easy to be like, you know, like you're not taking initiative, like you've been given a whole month, clearly you're like out of it, and so why should I even bother, right, on Kevin's end. But you know, he cared, and so I'm very, very grateful. So if you're watching, thank you. Thank you for making me cry. No, I'm kidding. But you know, yeah, it really matters a lot to me. I still think about that a lot and get kind of sad, but you know, it's okay. Yeah, so that's another long story.
Yeah, awesome. I created a poll that was, did you have a moment when you decided to commit to become an artist? And we actually got 50-50. So 50% said yes,
Interesting.
and then the other 50% said no, it happened in steps. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Would love to hear everyone's stories about how that happened in steps, or if there was like a specific moment for you where you decided to really commit. Would be great to hear everyone's different stories about that. You know, everyone's journey is different, and we can all learn from each other. Let's see, catching up on the chat here.
Yeah, because I talked for like 10 minutes.
You're good. Dark Star said, shout out to mom, LOL. Dark Star said, he's so right. I wish I realized when I was younger that this is what I was meant to do. And if you don't mind sharing, it's up to you. What are you majoring in, May?
I'm majoring in cognitive science with a concentration in visual perception, and I'm minoring in Russian literature. Because I feel like it, no other reason.
Did you say Russian literature?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So we could talk Dostoevsky and Tolstoy.
I would love to talk Dostoevsky, except I've only read 1 book of his, but really in depth. So I can talk.
Cool.
I can talk a lot about the brothers Karamazov and nothing else.
Oh, nice. Awesome. I don't know if I'm at the level of public discussion, but I've also read Brothers K and Crime and Punishment. I'm reading Anna Karenina now, and I read War and Peace from Tolstoy.
Nice. I started War and Peace in 8th grade, and I did not finish it.
Oof. 8th grade, wow.
8th grade,
Ambitious.
Yeah. We were doing, our English class had like, it was like PCR reading, like personal choice reading, but like all the books in the library were like the highest level book was like Percy Jackson. And I love Percy Jackson, but you know, my teacher was like, you know, you can't get away with just rereading like your favorite series for this assignment. And I was like, but it's okay. So she made me read War and Peace instead, and I was quite disgruntled. I was intellectually disgruntled. And it's just like, I'm like 13, you know, like I don't, like what am I gonna get out of this book? I was just like, wow, long sentences. Thank you. I'm not picking this up. Thank you. I mean, like she understood. Like between Percy Jackson and like War and Peace. I was like somewhere in the middle, but there was like, for some reason she couldn't like get access to something that was like more palatable, but it's okay. That doesn't matter at all.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't need to fill up a live stream about Russian literature, but that is fascinating.
Is everyone just commenting about Russian literature now? Because that would be kind of sick.
Well, I'm assuming your favorite is Dostoevsky.
Yeah, for now.
But yeah, some other comments from Bev. She said, Hi May, I work as an RN in mental health crisis line from home in telehealth. So work until midnight and do shift work. So that is why I get so much time to do Evolve as I work 6 shifts in a fortnight. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for doing all that. Wow, that's awesome. And then Sarah, creative Rook, yeah. Sarah said, does Kevin send that kind of email to all his students, or do you think he saw something in you, May?
No, he doesn't. He told me that later.
And had you told him earlier that you did want to be a pro artist, but kind of forgot or got distracted, and he was reminding you?
I think we talked about like where I should go to college, and like the pros and cons of like all the places I got accepted and yada yada. And we decided Rutgers like mostly because we could, because it would allow this to be a potential career path for me. Like if I moved out of state, I would not be painting. Like, and that's just like reality. That would have been a very distinct reality. But I don't think we explicitly said like, you're going to college. I mean, you're going to Rutgers so you can be a painter as your career. It's like more for if you wanted to be, you could be. And at the time, I was still, it was pretty obvious to me that I didn't really want to do anything else as a vocation. And so I was like very tentatively committing, I guess. But yeah, something along those lines. Kind of in the middle, which is, I guess, because there was no like explicit commitment, it was like easy to fall off in the beginning.
By the way, May, when you are going to the palette to collect paint, just keep in mind that your head tends to block every single pile that you're going to grab, so we're not really seeing what's going on there.
Like when I reach over?
Yeah.
Oh.
So just try to lean back a little bit if you can.
Sorry.
If there's a glare, then do what you got to do so that you can see. That's always more important. Okay. Glenn Ray said, "Why go to college for something you see no future in?" So you're actually taking that because you see a big connection with cognitive science, visual perception to your art. Yeah.
College is not just about book education. It's about growing up as a person and having independent experiences. And I think that's something everyone should have to experience. It's just like part of being a person. So there's like a bigger picture there, at least to me. And then, with the cognitive science thing, it does actually connect to art in a pretty cool way, I would say. Because like it's all about the technical side of how you see, like how your brain interprets visual stimuli. And so with that kind of background, it would enable me to create much more realistic, like directly convincing images for people to perceive and look at. So, yeah.
Following up on your story, Darkstar said, "May, you're still so young. Kevin saved you from a future of possible regret."
He did. Kevin did save me, and he knows that. So if you're watching this, thank you again.
He is watching this, and he actually just texted me.
Cute.
Sorry. He said, "Ask May about the paper she wrote that got her some serious attention from her teacher about Russian literature."
Why are we just talking about Russian literature?
I don't know.
Okay, so I guess I'll show off a little. Okay. That was so cringe. I'm so sorry. That was Kevin's fault. But yeah.
Well, now we're all curious. So.
Yeah. So during my first semester, I didn't go into college like thinking that I was going to major in or do have anything to do with like Russian literature. But I was making my schedule for the first semester, and it was really cool because all the classes in high school are just like, algebra 1, algebra 2, algebra 3, like whatever. And it's just like very structured, and like you take classes because you have to, because you have to graduate, you have to get credits, like, you know, it's all very like utilitarian. You don't learn what you really want to, at least like fully. At least in my experience and in like most of my friends' experience. But I was looking at these really cool classes that Rutgers had to offer, or just any college in general, I guess. But at Rutgers, there was this course that I saw for like, it was literally just called like the Brothers Karamazov, and the course was like, yeah, we're just gonna go into an insanely deep dive about this like one book. And I was like, you know what, that's super sick, because I've heard of Dostoevsky before, because I used to watch these like little philosophy YouTube videos to like think I was smart or whatever. And then, so I signed up for it, and it was really cool because it turned out to be like a discussion-based class, and everyone else there was like a junior or senior, like majoring in like Russian, like language or like literature. So they were already like really like ahead in like just Russian, like just knowledge about like Russia and Russian culture and literature and everything like that. And there were only like 15 of us total in the class or something. And there was this one kid who was like, who was very paranoid about like COVID, so like they never showed up. But it was basically like a very tight-knit discussion class. And so like a lot of like really cool ideas were like generated throughout it, and we got opportunities to write and present these very like self-directed papers, just answering like very broad kind of philosophical, not philosophical, but just like discussion literary questions about the book, or just kind of like close read or closely analyze like certain passages of the book and then present about it. And so I wrote this paper. My final paper was comparing and contrasting like certain like literary / philosophical elements of the TV show Westworld, which like for background, it's about it's like this like, it's in the future, it's like 2050 or something. There's like this really big like theme park that's like a global attraction where it mimics like the Wild West, and it's like this full on like really big like establishment, except like everyone in it is like AI, they're all like robots, but they're like extremely, extremely human-like. And so, you know, they're like bartenders and like cowboys and like Native Americans. And so it's like a real life like simulation, except like everyone's robots. And so the main like plot driver is when the robots start to gain like sentience. And so there's like a lot in there, as well as in Dostoevsky, about like agency and like morality and like how self-perception affects agency in like this cyclical way. And so basically I wrote like a really cool paper, and just kind of comparing those two like medias and like those ideas very loosely. I don't remember them super well, but that's like the general idea of it. And my professor reached out to me after and was like, yo, your paper, like, especially like as a freshman, like writing like in this pool of like juniors and seniors majoring in Russian, like I was just going in as like someone who's kind of just curious, and I turned out like creating some cool content. And so she was like, next semester, like maybe in the fall, like we should totally do like an independent study together, so we could create so you could create a paper that you could submit to like actual like journals, like Dostoevsky journals or like Russian literature journals. There's one like the North American like Dostoevsky Society or something, where it's like actual scholars, like people who've dedicated their lives to this stuff, like contributing to this like publication. And she was like, you could, if we work together, like, and just like produce like one really good paper, like this is like a really good start. Could totally do that, make that happen, or at least try. And I was like, you're crazy, because I'm like 18, I don't know what I'm talking about, but like also I do. So it was like really cool.
Dark Star said that sounds super cool. You could make very interesting paintings, and that even makes me think.
Yeah, I thought about that.
Yeah, you could write a paper about it, but you could also make paintings.
So true.
And hey, that might be a client base right there.
Yeah, if I illustrated scenes from Dostoevsky, dude, I think like that'd be really cool. Because there have been like movies made of it, but those are all like from the 80s, and so their visuals are like really bad and like tacky and strange. Well, they're not like bad, but since it's all like very subjective, like the imagery is like also like very subjective, and so it's heavily interpreted, and so there's no like And so like that's kind of like the standard for like all imagery, and I guess like that genre of Russian literature. And so like, I mean, obviously there's like a community around it, so they welcome interpretation. So, yeah,
Cool.
yeah. Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah.
Fun stuff. See, that's why I go to college, even though I'm not trying to do Russian literature. There's just like cool opportunities that don't have to do with your career, that don't like necessarily need to be affiliated with your career, but you can partake it, and so that's cool. It's like already sinking in, which I don't like, but it's okay. I was not
Leaning
painting that
over
entire time.
your
Oh,
palette.
sorry.
Thank you. Haha, we can see it when you're working on it now. Thank you.
I love like hiding the fact that I'm literally just mixing on the spot. It's not intentional, I promise. That's so light. I don't like it. Things like where I've kind of passed over the shadows. I can't tell if it's like sinking in or if like that's like literally what it's gonna look like after it's sealed. So I'm like a little worried. I didn't put any medium in the paint, so it'll be sinking in faster than usual. I think, okay, sorry. I think we're just I'll leave it mostly.
Darkstar said, Rutgers is a great school. If you're ever free for coffee, I live nearby. Would love to pick your brain apart.
Whoa.
Laughing emojis. I would say come into the school and make sure I'm there, because I'd love to be a part of that conversation too.
Cool. Yeah. I'm down. But yeah, the school is better. Kevin makes good coffee, so I can leech off of his supply. Like Darkstar, have you ever come into the academy before, or like not yet? Because I'd hate to think that you were here while I was here and I just didn't meet you. That would suck. Putting you on the spot right now.
She said, for sure, I'll be joining the school very soon.
Oh, cool. Nice.
That's great.
Hype.
She did in December. So that was a ways back.
I don't remember.
She's an Evolve student.
Right, yeah.
So she might be doing some kind of, and it sounds like if she's going to be joining the school, then she'll be doing some sort of combination of both.
Cool.
Z said,
Z?
Z Owens.
Oh, okay. Cool.
At 16, I wanted to be an artist, but let people talk me out of it. And now I'm 52 and feel like I'm starting from the beginning. I'm in the Evolve program, but took a year off. I'm getting back on track.
Cool.
That's awesome, Z. Yeah, keep going. Surround yourself with people who motivate you and inspire you and who know you who you are. And
want you to reach your potential. And, yeah.
yeah.
It's good that you still got back to it, though.
Yeah, definitely take advantage of the Evolve community, too. We do lots of things to keep everyone motivated and engaged and focused on their goals. I think a bunch of the students have even just set up their own like accountability buddies, and that's been really cool. We didn't even set that up, but they just started doing it themselves, and we love seeing that.
Nice.
Question from Sarah. Is it difficult to paint and talk at the same time, or does it get easier as you get better at painting?
It's definitely harder than just painting. But I think I'm kind of getting better, I hope. You guys tell me, am I getting better or am I getting worse?
Well, it's also getting more challenging for you as you're getting better, right? This is, to me, it seems like this is the most challenging one you've done so far.
Yeah, I think, see, I have to like pause 3 times in every sentence. I think it definitely helps to like have a good grasp of painting and like know what you're trying to do as you're talking. So you don't have to like struggle as much with painting and you can like offload more of your brain to talking. But Yeah, it's not easy. Technically, there's no such thing as multitasking. So when you see me like painting while talking, I've already gone on like autopilot to apply this color here, and I'm like thinking about what I'm saying. Or it's the other way around. I already decided what I wanted to say, and I'm focusing on painting or just kind of spewing out what my brain was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So
Sarah Price said, you do seem to get more relaxed with it every week.
do I?
Awesome.
That's good. Yeah, getting more comfortable. The names are getting more familiar. Kind of settling into the color palette and everything too helps.
That's awesome, Melanie. Melanie just shared, she was tagging Z Owens and said, same, I'm 52 as well, and a pretty good art scar. I'm not sure if that's the right word there, but I'm determined to learn what I wanted to learn back in the day. Yeah. Maybe you guys could be accountability buddies to each other. That'd be
Chase your
awesome.
dreams. Do it. Don't get lost in the negative people around you sauce and just do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also please lean back. Thank you.
Lost in the paint sauce.
I'll just keep reminding you until it becomes habit.
Okay. You're just gonna classically condition me.
Yeah.
I think I can handle that.
Oh, Melanie said, I have a pretty good art scar story.
Art scar.
Oh,
Are you
no.
okay?
Sarah said, tell us the story with a smiley emoji. Yeah, we are all ears if you want to tell that story. Of course, we're all here to encourage you and support you. It's up to you, though.
There's like this ominous silence.
Nothing wrong with a bit of silence. Take a nice break. You've been talking nonstop.
I have been talking nonstop.
9:10.
But you guys wish I would shut up already.
Wow, it's 9:10. That's.
Ah.
I just realized how much time it's been.
That was so fast.
My apologies for not telling you earlier.
It's okay. It's okay, Daniel. I forgive you. No, I'm kidding. It's okay. Sorry.
Bev said, I have watched YouTube videos where they have long brushes and seem to paint with random strokes from a distance. When I was trying to paint like that prior to Evolve, it drove me crazy.
There's like a place for everything. Obviously, if you're trying to do details like that, that's, just not practical.
Yeah.
It's not one size fits all. So, yeah, definitely just adjust where you're painting from based on what you're painting and what's comfortable for you. And the main goal is the result you're getting, not, the posture you're using to get it. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that too much.
Yeah, I wouldn't say there's anything wrong with long brushes and painting from a distance, but the random strokes part is tells me that they didn't connect the dots for you in the decisions that they were making,
Right.
Which would be a big component of how that drove you crazy. Trying to replicate what appears to be random is basically
Suboptimal.
impossible.
Yeah.
So. And maybe even getting you to focus on the wrong things. Yeah. Let's see. Gino said, I'm in the Evolve program and have heard of the accountability partners, but I'm too shy, even for a one-on-one session. Oh no, I'm not shy in general, but when something is new to me, it's hard to dive in.
Take the risk.
Yeah,
What's the worst that can happen? Nothing.
yeah,
Obviously easier said than done, but the community is there to support you and help you fulfill your potential. So
yeah.
everyone wants the best for you.
Yeah, I can relate to that feeling of not wanting to jump in and maybe kind of wanting to just slowly seep yourself into the community.
Just lurk until you're assimilated.
Yeah,
I get that.
But really, as far as the community goes, especially online, Gino, it really helps when there's some intentionality and a willingness to step forward. It's very easy because not everyone wants to be connected, and not everyone. Some people will just want to just paint on their own, and they're much more comfortable in that space. And so, it doesn't happen automatically. And so I would encourage you to take that step, like May is saying, and you'll find that, like, everyone, all these students, we're all learning together. So there's no one who's, lording their experience or skills over anyone else or discouraging anyone. Yeah, there you go. Darkstar just said, Gino, you should really create one. If you want to ease into it, just join Demetrius Q&A on Mondays. Yeah, that's a great way. Any study group, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, Gino, we really do everything we can to make sure that our community is warm, encouraging, and uplifting. And so just take that one little initial step. It doesn't need to be a big, massive step, but just take a step and see how it goes. And it's okay to ask lots of questions. You don't have to pretend that you've been around for a while. It's okay to be new to something and jump in. Yeah, that's another great point from Bill. If you don't want to show your camera, you don't have to. You can just watch and turn your mic on and talk with people that way. Darkstar is going to DM you, send you a direct message, May, about connecting.
Oh,
that was a thumbs up from May. I didn't have the right screen on. What are you chewing on there?
my lovely Simply Simmons number 10 brush. It was a very yummy snack when I'm struggling. If you're gonna struggle, at least, I don't know, don't be hungry.
It represents what you're chewing on mentally.
Yes, very good. There's symbolism everywhere. I just sound like a hippie. Yeah, so right now I have everything covered. I'm just trying to fix things. Yeah. Adjusting shapes that were lost in the process of gradient creation. I feel like I barely talk about the painting, and it just like happens as I'm like talking about other stuff, which I kind of enjoy. So keep talking to me about things other than what I'm doing, please.
Is that a request?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I don't really care, but I just think it's funny. It's good though. Like you guys like want to know other things, and I don't have to just be like this is this color, and I'm putting it here.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause that would be boring for me too. So.
Well, I think Melanie is halfway through telling her story here.
Cool.
So far she said, well, what it boils down to is I got pregnant at 17, married
Ooh.
at 18,
Damn.
thought my life was over. I tried to continue drawing on my own, which was hard.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the 90s with no YouTube.
Mm.
She just added, someone told me that my husband must love the kids more. Wow. Because I was always trying to be more. I internalized
Whoa.
this to mean if I shine, I am not a good mother. So I put my pencil down in 1992. Wow.
That's brutal. Whoever said that to you was like kind of terrible. What the heck? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that's... Oof. It's pretty amazing the things that we can internalize and let affect us in that way. Wow, that's, yeah, I can see how that'd be so devastating. Sarah just said, at Melanie, yikes, the mother shaming is terrible. Moms do so much, they should be encouraged, not torn down. They were probably jealous of your art. Yeah, absolutely. As a child myself, I must say my mother is pretty amazing.
Speaking as someone who was born, my mother is
Yeah.
incredible.
Seriously, yeah.
Take it from me, a person who has been born. Sorry, that's just
Yeah.
cheap humor. I'm just saying things.
And you had said earlier, May, how your mom was looking around and found Kevin. And my mom had heard about Kevin from another mom, and that's why I'm here now. It's amazing. It's like moms just know their kids so well.
I know what we need.
Like, mom knew that that I had some sort of interest in this when even me at the time didn't think that I would have one. But she saw it when I didn't. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Melanie said, I think this person who had said those things still believes women should just have babies and stay at home.
That's their problem, and massive shame on them for making it yours. Definitely untrue.
Bill said, my mom lives with my wife and I hear about Kevin all the time.
Whoa.
That's funny.
Kevin.
Oh, she hears about Kevin. Okay.
Okay. I was like, whoa. Kevin in some dangerous territory right there.
Yeah, CL said, a lot of silly things come out of people's mouths. It takes a long time to learn to rise above them. Because what do they know? It's just their own stuff. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of the things that come from people is really a reflection of their own, where they've been or what they've been, or the experiences that they've had. And it can be a negative cycle, absolutely. It's really important to know that. And even, if someone says something that is potentially like really damaging like that, then definitely find people that you feel safe and comfortable with, and I'd encourage you to I'm not a I'm not a therapist here, but I would encourage you to run those things by them and ask them what they think. People who really know you well and are looking out for you, and let them speak the truth to help. Because even if you say something, it's like, oh, but they said something mean, and I know it's not true, but you can still internalize it, right? And so just another important aspect of community, community is huge. And, coming back to the realm of art, like, it's really hard to do it on your own unless you are very, very driven. But when there's people involved, all encouraging you and pushing you, reminding you what you're passionate about, reminding you who you are, it's huge, makes a massive difference. Joshua said, "Hey, how does the Evolve program one-on-one live tutoring works? Do you just hop on and talk?" So Joshua, let's see, how do I give context to this? So yes, so there is. Let me simply just explain how the Evolve program works to you, Joshua. So basically, when you join, you get access, or when you join, you kind of enter onto this road map of reaching pro level skills, right? And so you join, you get access to our website, you can set up an account, and we ship out art supplies to you immediately wherever you are in the world. And while that's coming, you can watch the first few videos and learn how to do the first assignment. The supplies arrive, and then you can use those supplies to make your first assignment. And then you will take a photo of your assignment, your painting, with your phone, and then upload it to the website again. And then an instructor will take a look at it, and they will give you personal, objective, constructive feedback on that specific painting, telling you where you're doing well, what you need to improve. It's very specific to your work. And then, as long as you are understanding the material properly, they will then move you on to the next assignment. So right there is a very one-on-one kind of an aspect there, where every single one of your paintings is being looked at, reviewed, before you can move on to the next thing. So a lot of online workshops and online courses and things will kind of just give you like the videos, and then you kind of just go as you see fit, like through the videos and things. But this is very guided. There's a lot of guidance every single step. Every single painting gets looked at before you are allowed to even go to the next assignment. And so that's how we kind of create this this very guided journey and are really ensuring that you're getting the results. On top of that, we have live classes and things, and we have these video study group rooms where you can spend time with other students in the program, working on paintings together and talking, kind of like this live stream, but with everybody. And then you can also, on top of that, you can schedule one-on-one meetings as needed, as much as you want. It's all included with homework instructors. So let's say that you're struggling to understand something in the video and you're trying it out and it's not coming together, then there's a way for you to quickly reach out and set up, like looking at the office hours that are available, and set up a time with an instructor and meet with them one-on-one and talk about that specific thing. If you, and on another side, let's say that you're struggling with something and you're not aware that you're struggling with it, an instructor can see that you've been struggling with something for a few exercises, and they'll reach out to you about meeting one-on-one to really make sure that you're getting it. So we're really kind of covering all bases here, and yeah, it's like we just do everything that is humanly possible to get you these pro level skills. So yeah, I hope that answers your question there. And so if you're an Evolve student and wondering how to set up a one-on-one meeting, then definitely reach out to instructors at evolveartist.com or hello@evolveartist.com. And yeah, you can go, you can figure that out there. I think there's other resources as well if you're a student, but that's where I'd reach out about that. Let me know if that answered your question. And then also, if you're interested in the Evolve program, we have links in the description of this video. You can check that out and learn more about how Evolve works. Okay, returning to...
Can I lower the easel slightly?
Oh, well, I didn't notice, so you're good.
No, can I?
Oh, can you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Just like glare.
Let's do it.
Thanks. Okay.
Yep, that's fine. I'll just adjust the camera.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So that's definitely stuff sinking in at the top. That's me. So I'm gonna stop worrying about it.
Joshua, yes, if as long as you can take a photograph with the tablet, you can upload the pictures to the website. You can use a desktop. So yeah, anything that can take a photograph, and then if you have another device that can send the photograph up, then you're good.
What time is it?
It is 9:30.
Okay. Thank you. Debating my next move. I'll fan brush everything first, and then see where I am.
Melanie said, "Thanks, guys. I randomly discovered this wound and healed this for myself, and Evolve came around at just the right time. All is in order. My nursing career is paying for my art education. I win." Starstruck emoji. That's awesome.
You do. You are winning.
Darkstar said, "You win 100,000 times over." Question for you, May,
Yes.
from Darkstar. Have
Hello.
you entered any competitions? If so, can you share your experience?
I've entered two. One of them is like Scholastic, the Arts and Writing Award. That's kind of a scam. Like, it's really just like what the judges like. There's nothing about quality in there. And I've also entered the Da Vinci Initiative, or the Art Renewal Center's like annual competition, which is like an international thing. The Da Vinci Initiative is just like what they call the teen and like kid category. I think it's ages like 9 to 19, something like that, or like 12 to 19. So that's just what they call that subset. And I've gotten, I think 2 years ago, I submitted my piece Emergence. I don't know if Daniel feels like showing it. Maybe.
Yeah, let me
Yeah.
find it.
Yeah, no problem. I submitted a piece into the Da Vinci Initiative, like the lower age range one, and it got like a little honorary mention, so that's cool. For Scholastic, it was funny, they didn't really like my oil paintings, but they liked the weird gouache stuff I was doing at home at the time. So that's how I know they're kind of not really based on quality. Because I just sent them like a lot of stuff, because like the entry fee isn't like very expensive. And I was like, why not, you know? So yeah, that's my experience. This year I submitted 2 pieces to the Art Renewal Center, but under the like adult category rather than the kids one, even though I'm still eligible for the kids one. Because I think it's more applicable for me to know how I would be judged as a professional rather than as a teenager. So, yeah, but I mean, I think the more important thing to remember when you're entering these things is like, just don't have expectations, because ultimately art is going to be judged in a subjective way, and because every judge is different and has their own preferences. So as long as you know the worth of your own work, yeah, that should be what matters the most, not some random stranger out there in the world. So. Yeah, that is my very minimal experience.
Mm-hmm. You want to explain what you're doing right now?
Yeah, I'm fan brushing, so I'm using circular motions to very lightly go over the surface of the paint so that it smooths out the texture of the paint but doesn't move any shapes or colors around. And so this gives the surface of this painting a very nice finish, so it's nice and smooth and even, so it'll photograph nicely and just look nice in general. So usually I do 2 passes with this. I do like the circular one you just saw, and then right now I'm doing the one where I pull everything in the same direction. Ta-da! I got some fan brush marks, like, that's not very good. Anyway, so sometimes a fan brush will carry paint, and you'll get little like half moon shapes from the brush in places that have already dried or wherever. But it's not a big deal. I can always just paint over it. So. I guess. Okay. I'm still gonna fix a few things, and then I'll just fan brush over the little areas I work on.
Aldane jumped in here and said, I love art. I think I made a big mistake pursuing a career as an office clerk when my real interest was painting. I feel I wasted my time working as a clerk when I could have developed my painting. Yeah.
It's okay. It's never too late to start.
Never too late. That's right.
So true.
And I know I just jumped this into the chat here. But yeah, we can be really respectful, everyone, in the chats that we make. And I'm simply just not directing personal questions to May like that, so we can focus more on the live stream. But otherwise, you know, we don't need to attack anyone for comments that they make or questions they ask, unless they are seriously out of order.
Everything okay over there?
Yeah, everything's fine.
Okay. Like 9:40 now.
It is 9:35. Making time slow down.
I don't like this ambiguity. Half an hour is like a terrible time frame to paint, at least for me. It's like perfect amount of time to start something and not finish it. So, you know, all of us have been eyeing the wings for a little bit. So, I'm deciding if I should do anything now or wait. Kevin probably wants me to wait. Thinking about it. Because I have a lot of these colors, but I don't have a lot of time. What will she do?
You can end early if you so decide. If this is
Can
where
end
the
early.
pass stops, then this is where it stops.
It is probably wisest to end early. I'm not gonna lie.
So what's next? I guess is the question.
So what's next would be the shadows on the wings. Which,
Ooh.
woo, finally the wings. I know, we're crazy.
Yeah.
I'm saying wings, it's literally just one. For narrative effect, haha. As I've reiterated, as we've all inquired about so many times. So yeah, it would be the shadows on the wings. And then after that, it would be the lights on the wings. Then finishing touches, I guess. So yeah, I think I'll keep you guys on hold for the wings. So haha, wait. Because yeah, it doesn't make sense to start them now. Just checking to see if the figure needs anything else before I let it sit and dry. Is everyone like raging in the comments? That'd be so
No.
funny. Very good.
Alex said, so stoked for the wings. Darkstar said, it's looking spectacular so far. Bill said, this is brilliant. Melanie said, we are just happy you are here, May. The work
Aw.
is fantastic, and it is so nice of you to share with us.
That's sweet. Thank you for being here. I think I'll just nitpick a few things. Probably won't go for another like 25 minutes.
Question from Sarah Price.
Yes.
Are you happy with how it's coming together, May?
Am I happy? This pass is definitely like unnecessarily difficult because last time I didn't like go around the edges of all my shadows and match it to the base layer underneath. So I had to like make a lot of shadow tones, as you can see here and here and here, and kind of just approximate them on the spot, which is very silly of me. But I think it looks okay. I like that I was able to manage the cooler tones. I think they look natural, but also, like say the point of changing the temperature. I think I'll like it a lot more once the wings are put in, just like you guys. So, but yeah, I think it's not bad. I don't think I would have done anything differently outside of what I just said, so that's always good. Are you guys happy with how it's coming along?
I mean, I am.
Are you?
Yeah. Debbie said, enjoyed hanging out, watching you paint. Thank you for sharing. It's beautiful. Linda said, thanks for another great session, May and Daniel, coming along brilliantly.
Aw.
So, yeah, I would say people are quite happy.
Yay. I aim to please. That's better. Yeah, I think that's it for today then. Thank you for sticking around. Don't forget, if you liked my illustration, you should reach out and let us know if you'd be interested in a print.
Yeah, next week
That'll be
we'll
next
have
week.
something ready, and we'll kind of revisit that section there. Yep.
Good.
Let's see. Oh, okay, can you take one more question?
Yes.
Okay, from Bedford. I don't understand cool colors and warm as yet. What? Hold on. Okay, I don't understand cool and warm colors yet, or at least not in the context of painting.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on that?
So first of all, like temperature is relative. That's like a very important concept. Colors only read as warm or cool if they're next to something that's relatively warm or relatively cooler. And a main thing is like the light source will like illuminating an object that allows you to see it, because again, everything you see is just light bouncing off of objects. That'll usually have a temperature that's either warm or cool, and so every lit surface that you see is going to be the same temperature as the light, and then the shadows will usually be the opposite. So that's a good rule of thumb to have. I don't know there's anything like explicitly to say. It's just like this
I will
concept.
say, like, you know, you're an Evolve student, don't worry about it for now. It will come with time and with experience. You'll be able to actually see those shifts and things and understand how they relate. And so, yeah, if you're in the Evolve program, so you're good. Just keep focusing on what we're putting in front of you right now at the stage that you're in, and it will come. It'll happen.
Yeah, it's not a major like priority to have as a concept. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Wow, we were about to end the stream, and now you're painting again.
I'm just refining things. We can just hang out. I'm just saying I'm not going to paint anything else.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we do have some more questions from
sure.
Gino.
Yeah.
May I ask?
Haha.
Love that. Yeah. Why would you Photoshop the reference in colors you would not use on the actual paintings? I mean, reference seems to have other skin tones. Okay, so Gino, as I explained this a little bit earlier, you probably weren't in, but what the camera is showing and what the reference in the top left, they are slightly different from each other, and I can say in person here, just looking at the photograph, the physical photograph next to her and the painting, they are actually both very similar to the reference in the top left corner. And so I will see if maybe next week, if there's a way I can adjust the colors accordingly to help them match a little bit better. And also, as CL had asked earlier about taking a photograph of this painting, which I will do after the stream, and I will have it available in case we do continue to have some color issues. Then we'll at least be able to see where it was from last week and be able to see see all of that. So, okay, hope that helps.
That would be cool if I was just completely freestyling my own colors. But I actually did that on that piece, but no,
yeah,
not for this.
it's kind of what I'm doing with the painting I just started. Aldane said, I feel like I should take a leap of faith and quit my job and pursue art full time.
Do it.
I've brought paint, pencils, all sorts of art supplies that I've been eager to use, but too busy with work. My biggest concern about doing art full time is that I'm not fully sure how to market myself as a painter. Yes, that's a real thing. So we don't market this a whole lot in Evolve, but we actually help artists. So we primarily focus on developing artists with the skills, because the skills alone can do a lot of marketing for you, right? Like when you have a product that people just naturally want to have in their home, that's a huge asset to selling. But we also walk with our students through how to sell your work and how to get started very realistically, very practically. And so that we actually do that, and that really happens in one-on-one meetings. And so if you decide to jump into Evolve, where you can develop these pro-level skills in about a year, and we have links in the description of this live stream you can check out. But when you become a student, then I would really encourage you to take advantage of those one-on-one meetings and really talk with these instructors about actually like developing a full career out of this. We have a ton of advice to give that is very specific to whatever goals that you have within the art career. And so that is definitely something that I think often gets underutilized, but it is available to all of our students that you can do that. And and I will say that we've helped quite a few artists really get started and start developing a real career that's paying for them through that way. So from Sarah, Daniel, the painting I'm working on, is that the biblical one you were telling us about? Yes, it is. But I'm not sharing its progress as my client has not seen it. And so I'm very excited about that unveiling. And then I am recording it along the way, and so I'll make some video of sorts that shows the process of its creation. Let's see. Aldane said, I love painting as much as I love watching and learning from other people who are already successful at what I aspire to be. I only use YouTube for art tutorials.
Nice.
Yeah, YouTube, what's different about YouTube is nice because it's free, but also YouTube can give you information and knowledge but it can't really guide you necessarily very well. And that's something that a good education would give you, is a much more guided process where they're looking at your work, they're telling you what you're doing well, how you can improve, and so the journey to pro level skills is much more efficient that way. Whereas on YouTube, you're the one who's deciding what knowledge you're receiving and from who, and it can get very cluttered. And so you could be learning superfluous information that's not what you need at the right time. So I would encourage you, if you're really serious about taking this leap of faith, then to look at like how you can be really educated from anything. And I would encourage you to learn those fundamentals. Earlier, May was talking about learning values, edges, and colors, these fundamentals that are things that apply to any subject matter so that you can create anything without limitations. So yeah, again, links in the description. But even if you don't go with Evolve, just the value of an education, a good education, is worth considering if you're going to take a leap of faith into this. Okay. Melanie, going back to Melanie's story, she said, I hope it helps whoever needed to read my little story. I feel I'm not the only one with an art scar. That is so true, Melanie. Words matter, especially from the people who are closest to us. Yeah, definitely. Cool. Oh no.
What?
Well, that's not a no-no. Bev just said, Evolve is curing me of the anxiety that all these YouTube videos created when I tried and failed badly. Well, I'm glad we're helping you now. Do self-taught painters exist in today's YouTube era? Yeah, absolutely. I think it depends on how you define self-taught. A lot of self-taught artists, what that really means is that they decided what they were improving or what they were learning at a time, and maybe they, let's say that they had a specific problem, and so they went and found an answer to it, maybe in a book or maybe a video, and they would likely still refer to themselves as a self-taught artist. At least that's my understanding of it. I could be wrong about that. But so usually most self-taught artists are still going to sources to find their answers, but they are typically in charge of, say, like the path of education that they take. So Kevin Murphy, for example, was self-taught, though. He learned a while back. Not too far of a while back, but perhaps not in the YouTube era.
Nice save.
Aldane said, the artists that I see on YouTube both motivate and demotivate me at the same time. They motivate me to aspire to be like them and demotivate me because I know they are better than me as competition.
Get better than them. You can do it.
Yeah, and take one step at a time. We live in a global market now, and so everyone is competition if you look at it that way. But if you want to grow, then channel that motivation that you're getting from them, how they're inspiring you to do better. And then from there, start comparing the skills that you have now versus the skills that you had a day ago, or if you're thinking in the future, the other way around. And just see, like, if you're taking small steps that are effective steps, but successful steps, where you're learning and being challenged, but having success in that thing, then you will be making big strides forward. And you can definitely get yourself caught up if you're trying to compare yourself with other people too much, when really you should be comparing yourself to what you're learning and how you're growing, and from your past self to your future self.
Yeah. That bit about comparison is really important. It's like really easy to get caught up comparing yourself to other people, but ultimately it does nothing for you than make you miserable. So just keep it to comparing yourself to yourself in the past. For sure.
Yeah, and I like to share, since Gino just made a great point. The point is to learn from the best, right? Like masters themselves learn from other masters, and that reminds me, like with Kevin, when Kevin is looking at the artwork that happens here in the school and in the Evolve program, he's not comparing a beginning student's artwork with his masterpieces, right? I mean, gosh, if he was grading people's paintings based on that,
Yeah.
that'd be pretty brutal, right? But instead, he's looking and seeing, did they learn the next thing that I was teaching them? Did they improve from the last painting that they made? And because he's a master, he can see those things. He can see if you're understanding it from the painting. And our instructors can do that as well. We've trained them in that. And so, yeah, absolutely. Where was I going with that?
Comparison.
Oh, yeah, just comparison, and yeah. So having a second pair of eyes of someone who's more experienced than you, being able to give you insight into how you are improving and where you can improve next is huge, because then you get to spend 100% of your energy in your next painting, 100% focused on exactly the thing that you need to learn. Whereas if you're not getting that kind of insight, who knows what you could be focusing on? You could be focusing on one of another million things. So probability-wise, it doesn't look so great. But if you have someone who's assessing your work and giving you guidance and advice, it suddenly narrows and straightens the path for you going forward. Aldane said, so I'm guessing you all studied at prestigious art schools. No. So this...
Here.
Yeah, so May's learned right here. I learned here as well. This is the Art Academy. It's open to anyone. So anyone can come in and learn. So it's not prestigious. It's prestigious in the fact that the walls here are covered with incredible paintings done by high schoolers. But it's not prestigious in the sense that it's
We're exclusive.
exclusive and only takes a certain number of people. And it's the same thing for the Evolve program, which will take anyone who's willing to put in the time, willing to follow instructions, and is committed, serious about developing these skills. And you'll find that the price range is also in a completely different range than what you would find at other prestigious schools. We are a penny on the dollar to
for sure.
most other art schools. And we also, so that's 100 times cheaper. And then we are also getting results about 4 times faster if you're looking about it in years.
Yeah.
But then if you're looking at it in hours, so let's just say like a liberal arts college getting an art degree at a college, you're talking, so you pay for tuition, you typically pay for about 18 credits for a semester.
15 to 18, yeah.
Yeah. So, well, if it's at least at the one where I went, it was 18. So 18, so 1 credit averages to about 3 hours a week. So anyways, doing all the math, at some point I did all the math, and it came out to about 6,000 hours for 4 years of art school to get a degree that says that you are good in art. Versus 350 hours
Yeah.
in the Evolve program. So talk about streamlining an education. And that's not to shame any particular school in general, but just looking at numbers there.
Sorry, we all thought I was going to stop, but I'm nitpicking, so.
But here we are at
Here we are.
9:56.
Oh boy.
Now we're coming up to the end of the time.
That's so true. I like to be picky. All right, that's better. was fast. Yeah, guess we'll just stare at each other for 3 minutes. I'm kidding. Is there anything else in the chat? Or not really.
Aldane just shared, when I was in high school, before the pressures of adulthood hit, back when I had free time to kill, I used to paint all the time.
Nice.
Yeah, and you can make time. If you make it a priority, you should be able to find the time, at least for most people. Do you know painters who have started at 50 years old? Yes. Quite a few Evolve students are over 50 who have started. We've even had some, I think even in the 70s and 80s, who've started and are doing awesome work now. So it's really, it's not a age-specific hobby or profession, which is awesome. Gino said, just leave the camera on and May painting, we don't mind.
I just make it another 3-hour session. I just finished the, no. Haha. No, not doing that. That'd be so funny. Like we pretend to end the live stream, but the camera just doesn't stop, and I just finish everything. I'm gonna do that to you guys. Yeah, no.
I wouldn't let it happen. Don't worry, guys. She might want to, but no.
Oh, why would you say something like that?
Only on a weekly basis are you allowed to make this painting.
I know.
You get to do the other paintings at your own pace, but not this one. Yeah, thank you very much for your time, May. We really appreciate it. And everyone here really appreciates it too.
Of course. Thank you for being here.
James said, looking forward to next week. Thank you, May and Daniel. Have a good night, everyone.
You too.
Yeah, and with that, I think we'll wrap it up.
Yeah.
All right, so have a good night, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out. May, thank you again for blessing us with your business and with your painting.
You're very welcome.